Hello, creatures. Happy 2021. I can't believe that we are a week into January already. Today we are flipping through my 2021 bullet journals. I needed the beginning of the week to solidify some things in this journal and to ink them out. I had some ideas penciled down, but I was still flirting around with how I wanted it to look. I have 2 bullet journals this year, as you see. I'm really excited about it because I think it'll be a much better system for me. This one here is my all over life bullet journal, where I track my writing projects, my author platform on YouTube and Instagram, and just life in general, school, work, and everything goes into this book. It's like my planner. This one here is my writer's reading log. I am most excited to share this really because it's something that I have been slowly working up to over the last couple years, and I had some extra pages in last year's planner that I was using to do this, and it worked really well. This one here is a reader's writing log. I'm very excited about it. It's something I've been working up to over the last couple years. My last year's planning bullet journal had a couple empty pages at the end where I started doing this, and it has been really working well for me as a writer. I log the books that I read, I log some extra information about them, and I also log some things that'll help me improve as a writer. So I'm very excited to share my method of this for you. It is a little bit of a splurge to get 2 of them, but the way I see it is if I have a book, a page in this one, it'll last me quite a while. It will probably last me more than 2 years, unless I get a whole lot more free time than I normally have. So if you are excited to see the inside of these guys, please hit the like button and also consider subscribing, especially if you are writing for publication here on Bound by Words. We post writing related videos twice a week. I myself am a freelance editor and fantasy writer, so the videos range from writing motivation, inspiration, to tips, to live writing, and just community stuff. So I would love for you to be a part of our community here, especially if you found yourself on my channel more than twice, because 80% of the people who watch my videos are not subscribed. So consider hitting that button, and without further ado, we're gonna crack these open. Alright, so I like to keep the beginning of my bullet journal short, sweet, and inspirational. I have a few pages that span the year, and this washi tape does not want to stay down. But my first page is a quote from Nora Roberts. This was a quote she had on being like a writer as a profession, but I think it applies to a lot of areas of my life. And that is, as a writer, you have to have the 3 Ds: drive, discipline, and desire. If you're missing any one of those 3, you can have all the talent in the world, but it's going to be really hard to get anything done. I think that's a really powerful quote, and I want to come back and look at it throughout the year because I really think it encourages me to be more business-minded with my decisions. My next page is my New Year's resolution page, and this is a page that I didn't have last year and I really wish I would have included it. It's just a list of both things and habits that I want to do this year, and it's more for my reflection at the end of the year than it is for any type of planning. It is nice to be able to go back and to use this to plan, but it's more for inspiration and keeping myself on track. Some of the things are one-time check-off things, like this getting editing job. I am close to the end of my editing certificate, and I really want to transition into having like a career 40-hour-a-week job instead of juggling part-time gigs in school. Some of them are habits that I would like to build, like get in the habit of sending out a monthly newsletter, get in the habit of writing 15,000 words a month, stuff like that. So this is just a nice fun reference page to remind me of the things that I want to accomplish this year. So this next page here, I purposefully left blank because a lot of the stuff I have going on that I'm going to be writing and tracking on this page, I want it to be a surprise. They are surprise, milestone, giveaways, prizes, business ventures, stuff like that. I have so many ideas I'm going to write on here probably the second I start filming, but for now, I need to keep it to myself. But I wanted to let you guys know what this page is, sort of what the function was. And it's half a business tool and half a planning on giving back kind of tool. So this is where I'm going to be tracking what I want to do at different milestones, both in Instagram and in YouTube. So some of these things, like I said, are business related. It might be once I hit a certain number of subscribers on YouTube, I'll consider like, is Patreon something you guys want? Do you guys want extra content? Do you want me to be creating other types of content, stuff like that? Or it might be something like when I hit a certain number of followers or subscribers, I'll go in and see if you guys like want to have our own Discord community, which I think would be really awesome. But for the most part, most of what's going on this page is going to be giveaways. Ways to give back to the community. They range from book giveaways, rating box giveaways, rating contests, and publication as a giveaway. So this is a great opportunity for me to shamelessly remind you guys again to subscribe to my YouTube channel, to follow my Instagram. I think I have more ideas of things that I want to give away and things that I want to do for free than I do for video ideas, which is pretty sad. So if you want to have a say in what is being given away and when, and you want to make sure that you enter those giveaways. Make sure you're also followed to my Instagram because that's where I'm going to take votes. I don't have a community tab on YouTube yet, so it's kind of impossible for me to take those kinds of polls on this platform, so Instagram is a great substitute for that. I know I'm doing something to celebrate 500 subscribers on YouTube. I know I'm doing something kind of big to celebrate 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. This is just going to be my page where I track ideas. Some of these milestones are things that I'm going to hit this year, and some of them might be things that take a couple years, and that's okay. This is a page for me to get excited and to plan and to come up with ideas. I might write 4 or 5 different ideas for hitting 500 on YouTube so that I can choose between them whenever we get there, or we can even take a vote as a community. So I just wanted to have a place where I can collect all of my thoughts at once, because I do just randomly have ideas where I'm like, this would be great, I really want to do this. So this is just a place for me to track that. So that's actually the end of my yearly section. It's just a couple pages that I think will be relevant throughout the entire year. Next, we're moving on to my 6-month section, which starts with a reading and a writing page. Now, last year I had a yearly reading page and a yearly writing page. They got full very fast and there wasn't enough space. So this year I'm experimenting with a 6-month reading and a 6-month writing page. Because I have a whole different journal now for reading logs and writing habits and taking notes on books and stuff like that, I'm not including a whole lot of information on my reading page. I do have for fun the first book that I read in January, and I have a section for the last book I read in June, and then I have a fun quote at the bottom: books may well be the only true magic. Totally agree with that. This section here, I'm not the biggest fan of the horizontal highlights. I almost wish I didn't do that, but this is really just a checklist to make sure that I am staying on track with some of my other things. So I'll include the title of the book, my rating, so on like a 1 to 5 scale, like the 5-star system, and then these two are just like yes, no check sections. This one is for did I leave a public review, which is something I want to get into a better habit of, and this one's actually did I log it in the other book. I think this is the most important section because there's a lot of information that goes into the other book, so I might finish a book on a day, give it a rating, give it a public review, but I might not log it for a few days, and you'll see why whenever we move on to that book. So this section, my rating section, I am clearly not done with it. This middle part, I am bouncing back and forth with what I want to include. It is the beginning of January, and this is my 6-month rating section. So rather than making a snapshot decision on what I wanted this to be, I decided that I was just going to sit on it for a little while, and that maybe throughout the month while I work on my project, it would come to me. These boxes around the outside here are for my monthly word count. Since one of my New Year's resolutions is to write 15,000 words a month, this is just a place where I can see if I'm doing that or not. For this middle part, I thought about dividing it into like notes on my manuscript on one side and notes on my short stories on the other. I also thought of sectioning it off into boxes and having like my writing ideas and the things that I want to include in my story on it. I've also thought about keeping a running list of possible names for my current work in progress, for if it does make it all the way to publication. I thought all of those were really fun things. Let me know in the comments below if you have any recommendations or suggestions for this writing page. The next page, and it's actually the last page I have finished for my 6-month section, is my YouTube tracker. I'm quite proud of this page. I think it's really cute. I'm definitely going to go back in and either do like a picture or a quote up here. And then of course I have a section down here to track my growth. I think it can be quite toxic to focus on the numbers whenever it comes to YouTube. At first, when I had this subscriber count section, I actually had numbers here, like I had whenever I hit 200 subscribers and 250 subscribers and stuff like that, where I was planning on writing the dates next to it that I hit those milestones. And then I realized if I get to the end of 6 months and I've only hit 1 or 2, or maybe not even hit any of those milestones, even if I'm trying, that I would be very discouraged. So I thought that that was a very bad way to plan. Instead, I went with the dates. So on January 31st, I'm going to go in and I'm going to write how many subscribers I had. And I thought that would be a good way just to see how fast I'm growing. For this one, like the number of videos, if I am being business-minded about my YouTube and I'm filming and posting on my schedule, then I have total control over the number of videos I post. So I go back and forth between how I want to track just to see what I like. This is the first time I've had this page, so at the end of June, I can really sit down and look and say, like, did it work or did it not work? Now, this blank page that is next, I had intentionally left blank at the time because I couldn't decide between a few things that I wanted it to be. This is my 6-month tracking area, so I'm going to have this same cluster of pages right here, again, at the beginning of July. So I thought, like, there was a chance that I would think of something maybe at the end of January or February that I wanted to include here that I didn't, so I left it blank, just so one, I had a better layout because having a page here with something on it makes my next pages a little bit easier, but also I feel like I always have an idea later of something I could have done instead, so I left a blank page to play with. Since then, it's only really been a week, since then I decided it's probably going to be a Japanese studying page. I am taking the N2 level JLPT this December. I was supposed to take it last December, just about a month ago, but it was closed because of COVID, because hundreds of people get together to take it. It's only offered in December, so it was postponed to this year. So I will be taking it again this year and this December, and I want to have a good way of tracking so that I know I'm going to be ready, whether I'm recording words that I'm learning, parts of books that I'm studying, TV shows that I'm watching and using to learn. I want this to be my Japanese tracking page. I'm going to spend the next week deciding how I want this to look. So that is the end of my 6-month section. At the end of June, I'll have another set of these 4 pages right here, my reading, my writing, my YouTube, and then this will be my Japanese for July through December. Next, we jump into quarterly planning, where I have my section for January, February, and March. This page here I do sort of as I hit the months, so it's actually kind of productive for me to have all the way to February done. I usually do my January theme page, and then I go through and I make the artwork here match. And then whenever I get to February, I do my February theme page and I also make it match. I do have very lightly penciled in here something I think I might want to use for March, but I haven't really settled in on it yet. This doesn't say February yet because I haven't been able to settle on a font that I wanted to use for that, but this is the important side. This is my TBR up at the top. The ones that are colored in are books that I finished, and the ones that are written on are books that I have started. I probably will go through and write more books that I want to read on it, so there will eventually be books on there that I haven't started yet, but I'm definitely going to color them all in whenever I am done. This page here, it changes every single quarter, mostly because the items on the page change, but also because I really like to switch it up. I'm a big fan of this shelf here. It's the first time I did it. I'll probably reuse it next quarter, but as far as things like job applications go, like I said in my New Year's resolutions, I am really pushing for finding a career job. So this is the minimum number of job applications that I want to submit in this 3-month period. At the rate I'm going now, I'm going to have this done before the end of January, so I might add a second row of circles on the bottom or the top here. For this drafting bubble here, I'm going to include at the end of March some notes of where I finished for whenever I look back, whether it's a year from now or 10 years from now. I want to write how many words in my manuscript I have done, what draft I'm on, any notes I have moving forward where I am. This website one is just for a little bit of a makeover that I'm working on, so they're just checklist items. At the beginning of the next 3 months, I will hopefully have all these things done. I think this is a very reasonable amount of stuff to do in that span of time. So I either won't need this box or I'll have a box for my website with totally different things on it. This is the first quarter I've actually included a habit tracker like this on it, mainly because I am pushing really hard to be on a better schedule with YouTube and Instagram. I've been doing very well at it for the last 2 weeks, but it's something that I do well at for a few weeks and I sort of fall off a little bit. So I really want to get into the habit of posting twice a week on YouTube and 3 times a week on Instagram, like no questions asked. I want that to be the minimum. So this is just a page where I can see how well am I doing on that. Am I meeting my own expectations that I set for myself? So that is my quarterly planner for January, February, and March. Next jumps right into January's theme page. I really like this theme and this habit tracker. I think they go well together. I really like the way the colors look. I am not the best at coordinating the beige and the grays and the yellows, and you'll see that as we flip through January, not all the pages look this pretty, so I'm really proud of the way that this one turned out. These are just some habits and things that I want to do every day, and I do this at the beginning of every month. These habits will change month by month, but these ones here I'm finding are really good for me, so I recycled them into my February habit tracker. So next jumps right into my planner. I purposefully have a lot of this information blank. 1, my handwriting is terrible, and 2, a lot of it's just very personal. So for every weekly planner on every day, I have these highlighted sections. That's something that I found worked really well for me, so I incorporate it into most, if not all, of my weekly scheduling plans. This is like a focus of the day. The blank ones here are where I'm going to be writing my work schedule for Starbucks. I don't have a whole lot of control over that, so I add it to the focus section. So things like this day, I really want to do a deep clean. It's probably going to include laundry and dusting and dishes and stuff like this. This one here is watching my lovely niece. I absolutely love her. I am a big fan of leaving white space on my weekly planners. As weeks come along, I have different things that I sort of want to write in the margins. So up here I have like my video plan for January, where I'm going to write all the different types of videos. I'm probably going to sit down and say like, okay, these are all the videos that I'm going to sit and film, and these are all the videos that I'm actually going to have to do vlogs for, because they take a little bit more time, so I have to plan them a little far in advance. This particular spread was my most used spread of 2020, and I wrote that up in this corner. I purposely used it for the first spread in January because of that. I thought it was just like a good tribute to last year. But moving forward, I have my next week for January, and I do have designated filming days. I also have another day I watch Joanna. I watch her most Thursdays, and then I have my blank space down here. When it comes to blank space like this where it's floating, I'm more likely to doodle or write a quote than I am to write notes on this. I don't tend to take a whole lot of notes, so I think that is totally okay. This next page is actually my favorite page of January. I just really like how the colors turned out. I like the layout. I like how my focus block has its own little space, and I also like this little snow flurry in the background. This empty space here I'll probably put a quote on. It's also the perfect size for these post-it notes I use for both work notes and just business reminders and stuff like that I might want to pull out and move, so sometimes I end up sticking post-it notes in some of the white space. Next we have the last spread for January. It's not quite done. I do think it looks really cute, but I'm not a big fan of the white space on the top and the bottom. I do tend to lean more towards inspirational quotes than I do like doodling, mostly just because I'm not super artsy. I really like decorating my bullet journal. I think it really keeps me motivated to use it more often, but I'm just not like the best drawer. So I'm a little bit partial to including words and washi tape, honestly. If you can see, I really like the way that the washi tape just makes colors pop on the page. So next I have my February theme page and my February habit tracker. The reason this is blank and it is also blank on my quarter page, I have my bookmark here on my habit tracker so that I can flip to them easier. So whenever I get to February, I'll move this bookmark with the metal piece over to February's habit tracker. But whenever you go to the quarter page, I have this section blank as well, mostly because I haven't decided which font I want to use for February. So whenever I do decide that, I will add it in both places. Normally I draw this and I color it and I perfect it, and then I go back in and I color this, which is why March isn't done yet. This is actually the last page I have done so far in my bullet journal, which is farther than I think I've ever planned ahead. This habit tracker is new. I'm planning on doing little hollow circles and stacking them up so it sort of matches with these sparkles on the streamers or the strands over here. I'm not entirely sure if I like it yet, but as I use it, I think I'll have a better idea. So again, with February, it'll go through week by week, and I'll just have planner pages, much like I did for January. And then at the end of February, I'll have another page for March, where I'll have a decoration and a habit tracker. And then at the end of March, I'm going to have another page that looks like this. And this I just started doing last quarter, where I have a section for each of the themes. I really like it. I'm probably going to be doing it again for April, May, and June. And then I will redo my quarterly pages section. And when I redo that, I'm going to go back and I'm going to revisit, like, did I get a job? Was this enough applications? Do I need to be trying harder? Did I do these things? Do I still need a box for my website? Can I switch this to something else? Maybe even make it smaller. Maybe my Japanese box needs to be bigger and I need more space to track that. Maybe I look over at my social media and I'm like, okay, I can just barely post on YouTube twice a week. That's totally manageable. But Instagram over here, I can easily post 5 times a week. I can adjust the way that I plan like that. So that's really the biggest part. I think when it comes to planning and growth, I use these pages the most, or really just this page, because this page is decorative. But this is the page that I use to make sure that I am breaking up my yearly goals and the things that I want to achieve down into more manageable chunks. And then whenever I go into my week by week, I'm flipping back to this page to say, okay, I have some extra time, I have an extra day. Which one of these items can I knock off the list and stuff like that. Then at the end of June, I will come back to these sections here, not my yearly pages, but my 6-month pages, and I'll have a new reading and writing page. These pages look different every time I do them, so I might go to the end of June and say, you know what, I don't have nearly enough space here. I need to reorganize this or rethink how I am tracking in this book. or the opposite might happen and I might have given myself too much space. I do have enough space that if I was 5 books ahead of the game at the end of June for my yearly goals, that I would be able to track them all on this page. I don't think I'll be that on top of it, if I'm being honest, but it is nice to have the space just in case. I might look at this and never be able to figure out what to put in the middle and decide that I really don't need this. I might look at this and have 1,000 ideas of what to put in the middle and realize I don't need these boxes on the outside. So at the end of June, I will come back and I will evaluate how these pages are going, what kinds of things I'm tracking, and how I can improve. And then again, this is my first time I've ever done this page, so whether I keep it or not, it totally depends on how the tracking goes. It's all going to be whether the tracking helps me improve and also gives me good statistics. So some of these things I might have numbers off on, like number of videos. Maybe in 6 months I surpass the 100 videos by a lot. Maybe I don't even come close to hitting it. So these things that I'm tracking at the bottom, I'm going to be tweaking as time goes on. I'd like to think that I will continue to do a YouTube tracker, but to be entirely honest, I have no idea if I'm even going to be able to keep up with this one. Ideally, in a perfect world, I will remember to update this regularly. And then I'm definitely going to have a Japanese page. I regret not having this ready yet to show you guys, but because I'm taking such a big test this year, I guarantee you that I will be having some sort of Japanese tracker. But that's how this book goes. At the end of my 6-month pages for the beginning of July, I will go through and I will just have another one of these for July, August, and September, and it will repeat. So next we are going to go into my writer's reading log. I can't wait to dive into this one. This book I actually got from Notebook Therapy. They have their logo on the back. I will show you. I found them on Instagram and they have a lot of good bullet journals and also like planner stickers and washi tapes and stuff like that. This book I got from Archer and Olive. I got my bullet journal from them last year and I really like it. I was actually really surprised that this came. It's like leather bound because my one I got last year was this felt material. So I thought that this was how they made all of their books. So I was really excited to have something leather bound because I like how these are a little bit more different that way. But quality-wise, these are both amazing brands. I was spending a little bit more money on Archer and Olive because I knew it was really durable, that they had really great pages. This Notebook Therapy is literally the same quality. It's the same rounded pages so they don't get scratched up. They're the same page thickness, and they're both really just sturdy books. So I would recommend either brand. But now we are going to dive into my writer's reading log so I can show you guys why I think this is so important. So this one's going to be pretty quick to go through because each book only gets 1 page and I only have 1 book logged in it so far. I have this first page left blank. I'm still settling on a reading quote that I want to put in the middle here, just like I did for my regular planning bullet journal. I might even end up putting a couple or staggering them around. That's something that I'll doodle and decorate as I read. I'm thinking about finding quotes in books that I've read that I really like and including it on this page, so I think that would be something really, really fun to do. But each book gets 1 page and there are post-it notes all over this section because it does contain spoilers. So at the top of each page I have all the information about the book. I pick 1 color for each book. This one here is blue because my copy of Fable, as you see here, is all blue and decked out. Forest of Souls is green because my copy has green writing all over the front. I'm pretty sure that's the exclusive part of my edition. So I just am going to randomly pick a color that I think goes really well with the book that I'm reading. Fable also has a lot of very like sea ship imagery, and Forest of Souls has a lot of like greenery and nature imagery, so I think that fits really well with the story. So in that theme color, I write the title, the author's name, and the publication date. I think that's just a fun stat to track because it'll let me know if I'm reading only new books, only things I've seen on Instagram recently, recommendations, and if I have to go back and sort of see in the last couple of years what are some books that I might have missed that I might enjoy. And then under this, in the same theme color, I write a semi-detailed summary of what happened, and then I also write where the book ended. So it's going to be detailed enough that I include important characters' names that are going to pop up in the second book. And that is another small thing about this. This book starts with all of my 2021 readings, excluding these 2, because these 2 are books that I finished at the end of last year that are going to have sequels this year. And the purpose of this summary with the detailed description of the ending is so when the sequel comes out, I can read the recap and say, okay, this is what the book was about and this is where it ended. So I'm going to be doing that here soon for Forest of Souls. And then I draw a line, and this is my date that I have read it. So I read this one on November November 16th, 2020, or the date that I finished it really, and then my notes about the story. And this is what is most important for my writing journey. I purposefully left these ones vague because I don't believe in poisoning the well. I want you guys to form your own opinions about the story, but here are a couple quick notes that I had, as well as my review. I thought that this story fable had a very rich and immersive culture, and I also put the note, remember not to be repetitive. There was one instance where things were really repeated a few times and I felt like they didn't really need to be, and after I film this I'm going to go through and I'm going to rate exactly what that was. And this functions in a couple different ways. One, it helps me remember what kind of notes I'm making as a reader, things that I like and I don't like. It helps me remember little things like the reader is smart and they don't need to be reminded that some things happen, so it'll help me remember to do that in my own writing. It also will help me down the line, say whenever I'm publishing my book and I'm getting beta reader feedback. Say somebody might suggest that the story is great but the culture could really be better, it could be richer, it could be described in a better way. I can look through these and I can see what are all my notes on writing good culture. What are all the instances where I really felt like the culture in a book popped, or I might even say, this fable book, I remember it had an amazing culture, maybe I'll reread it and I'll take some notes and see what kinds of things worked really well for that. So I think this is probably my favorite thing. I've been tracking this in my head for a while, and then I started making notes in my bullet journal, and I really like to have a whole separate book for it. And even if I don't have the chance to go through and fill this out right now, like I said in my bullet journal, I have a section where I mark whether or not I was able to fill this out. I still want to go in and do the review while it's fresh in my mind. The next book I'll be logging in my first book of 2021 is Kingdom of the Wicked. I just like to show this book because it's probably the prettiest book that I have, just because of this part. So it'll go Kingdom of the Wicked and then The Bear and the Nightingale on the next set of pages, and I'm going to keep doing that throughout the year. One of my New Year's resolutions is to make sure that I am doing this, make sure that I am taking these notes and rating where books end and making my rating notes and giving reviews, as well as giving public reviews. So these notes might even help me like formulate exactly what I want to say on a public review, because I don't really want to give general like, hey, it was awesome. I want to be able to say like, this was a great like summer read, it has lots of like these types of imageries, this is why I enjoyed it kind of reviews. So these notes here would even help me do that. But yeah, this is my 2021 writer's reading log. I'm very excited to make this step with tracking my reading and the things that I appreciate as a writer. So now I want to hear from you guys in the comments below. Did you have a favorite spread? Do you have a bullet journal? And do you have spreads that maybe I didn't include? I love hearing about different types of spreads, especially writing, reading, and language learning spreads. I think they're really inspirational. They really motivate me to be a better tracker and to be more productive with my life. So I definitely want to hear these things. Let me know in the comments below. Also, remember to like this video and please consider subscribing. I post writing related content twice a week.